Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the viewers to my channel. I'm Mahadi Silepe. I'm a Lesotho YouTuber living in Perth. So people who are watching, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, they met at the refugee camp in Malawi, and that's where they got married. But we will not talk about that story because there's a special video for that bit of the story. But I want us to hear how they got into Malawi.
Yeah, when I think the last time I was telling you about how our boss asked us to flee, to leave the area in Congo.
Oh yeah.
So I decided to go south, looking for countries that speak English, where I could relatively find less refugees and perhaps be accommodated and have less trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, because as I told you, wherever I go, if I meet Hutus, they will tell me, this is a Tutsi, why are you going with us? If it's a Tutsi, they will say, this is spy from the Hutus or whatever. So you hate it from both sides. So I wanted to go where there will be less trouble. Yeah, now, and that could be perhaps also the place where they are not going to have another forced repatriation. That was going to be, it was happening in Congo, in DRC. Yeah, so when I presented my passport, they said, no, as you're saying, no passport won't be allowed to go through.
You were trying to go where?
Zambia.
Oh, okay.
From DRC.
From DRC.
Yeah. Now, my boss, I remember, he said, we need to find a way to support you. We cannot just, we have been working together for over a year. How can this happen? He said, I'm going to find you a way to find you a Congolese passport. Now, other Congolese colleagues work together, they say, if you get this passport, at the airport they will be speaking to you in Lingala. That's the language of Congolese people. Okay. So do you speak that language? I say, no. It's only Swahili and French. But still, your French, the accent is not the same. So French. We decided to go for Congolese ID, looking for Congolese ID, because I went to the airport and I found that's not possible. They even showed me, the airport manager, he knew me earlier, because I worked there before. Okay. And he was also the brother-in-law of my supervisor in the World Food Program. And he said, he took me through the window of his office, look at the planes, look how people are going in, commercial planes, and later on the soldiers will go to fetch Rwandan refugees who are in already and bring them down. So they want them to lose their money first, paying the ticket, and then they go take them out. They don't take them before they go. Seriously.
Wow.
Now, and they lose their baggage because you have already checked baggage. Yeah. So this was an organized hatred against refugees, and the soldiers, I don't know whether they were Congolese refugees mixed with Rwandan refugees, soldiers, sorry, Congolese, because I don't believe how Congolese would hate Rwandans so much, who are paying tickets to their own commercial planes to leave Congo. But they tell you can't leave. Yeah. But I knew, anyway, that was a conspiracy with the UN and US. They had apparently planned that they're going to do something like revenge killings of refugees so that they can appease the new Rwandan government that had lost a lot of people, Tutsis, and these big countries, powerful countries, were feeling like remorse. They haven't really supported, they have done nothing. So they wanted now to give them a chance to kill a big number of Hutus so that they can be equal and they be quiet and calm and perhaps start a country now on a footnote, on a better footing. Yeah. So I decided to accept that Congolese ID, so I paid around $20 or $50 to get it. They gave me the old one, they just changed and put my photo and stamp it. It was I got it in a proper way, not from.
It wasn't fraudulent. The only fraudulent is that it was not true information.
It was fraudulent, but from the office.
From the proper.
The same office that does it.
It was a genuine package.
So they took one of the old ones they don't use because maybe they are dirty, whatever. Then they put my names, everything in this photo. So, and they changed a little bit Muhirwa, they put it in a Congolese way.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have a way, some of those names exist. Actually, my name is blessed, I can make its meaning.
Wow.
Because it can work in Congo, it can work in Malawi, it can work in Zambia, it can work in Zimbabwe. They have the same way Muhirwa can be either a Shona or
it can even be Sotho actually.
Everywhere, yeah. So when my grandfather gave me this name, I didn't really know.
Wow.
Finally, this name worked.
Oh my days.
So I went to the airport. I had to be trained how to walk like Congolese, and dressed, and the haircut, and the glasses, so that I get completely disguised, not looking like a Rwandese. They checked if I can walk and do things.
Your French.
I practiced the French, speaking like Congolese.
Yeah.
It wasn't very much difficult because I have been with them for a while.
Okay.
And off I go. The only challenge I have, I've never taken the picture to remember how I looked.
Oh,
that was a good thing for the movie.
Oh.
So I went to the airport and I had left my mom and 2 sisters in a camp because they couldn't disguise themselves. And my mom was telling me, no, I will die with other people. I don't want to keep going everywhere because it looks like God has abandoned us. So what is the use of going again? Yeah. So my sister, the elder one, because she was how old was she now? 13 or 14? Yeah, 14. My mom wanted at least that I take her because she was saying if you leave this daughter with me, she can be raped by the militias or anyone. The other one was only 7. It's fine. She's still very small. And I said, no, how can I leave mom now with this little one? And this one I'm taking, what are you going to do with this one? Mom will have no one to support her, to help her. I said, no, look, with her, it will be still difficult to cross because she won't even be able to disguise. We can be all caught and taken to Rwanda, killed, whatever. So it's really hard. The best is that you stay together. Once I arrive, maybe in Zambia, perhaps another one can come. But to me, the best is that wherever we go together.
Sorry, I had missed in Congo. How did you meet your family?
Oh yeah, I didn't tell you about that.
Yeah.
After a year, we were given a holiday because we're working for UN, and they say it was like working in a jungle, in a place where there's no facilities, nothing. So we even had extra salary for what they call in French indemnité de brousse, the money that is given as bonus for working in a dangerous environment. So they said now at the end, they say, okay, holiday time, you can choose anywhere you want to go. It's a free transportation with a UN plane. Go, spend a month, come back. Then I say, yes, I can go. But if I go, I won't come back. Because if I go to Europe, I get a chance to be there. That I ask for asylum there. And I had some opportunities before to go to many countries, but I didn't like to go because I had never met anybody from my family. So I want to see my mom or my sisters or my brother or my dad. I didn't know anything that happened to them. So my holiday, I said, rather than going overseas, pay me the ticket with the boat to go to south of Kivu, Bukavu, where refugees from my home region have fled. I want to go and search.
And check.
So I spent there a week. I found my mom, hardly, because I had to guys again. People were always questioning my appearance. I had to dress like I'm working with a full uniform of World Food Program every time, so that they can recognize me, because there were other people working there as well. But I paid people to escort me everywhere. Escort. Yeah. I had to make sure I'll be safe. So I found my mom living in this small tent, just small. I don't know if you can imagine when we have a camp meeting, this small tent that they roll like
that
this.
One.
And
the
this,
one-man tent.
it was so hot inside. She couldn't dress. She was topless. Everyone was like that anyway.
Just that hot.
Yeah, it was really hot. Unless people have built their tents a bit higher and have windows. So there was no window, there's only the opening. So this sheeting, plastic sheeting, is really hot.
Yeah, it's
very hot.
So I found her there with my two guys who were escorting me. The two boys gave them their money and they went back because they were helping me to pass through different areas. And she said, "Are you alive?" I said, "Yeah." "No, people told us you were killed. How can someone survive in that area where you worked?" I said, "Yes, I survived."
Honestly.
So that was the first time to meet her.
Okay.
After the last time I had seen her was in 91, so that was 95.
Oh my days.
And ask her, where is someone else? Okay, you have your two little sisters here. Your elder sister, your married one, is also somewhere else. We're gonna visit her with her kids and husband. But your brother is in another big island. No, he was also in another camp nearby. But he was working for this birth control organization, whatever. He was a medical nurse, so he had dressed up a tent also to keep doing his practice, helping people with pills or whatever, those who want to stop having babies and. Yeah, so he was trying to make money, but he had lost his mind as well. He was drinking heavily. So many people had been stressed, and even my brother-in-law, he was drunk from morning to evening. They give them food, he sell them and buy beer. Yeah. So I decided now to tell Mom, let's leave this place. I have a very good house in a camp. I built a very good house in a camp in the north where I work, whether I work for World Food Program, but I always deliver foods to refugees there, so we can find a way to organize our better life there. Yeah, so she said, okay, if someone leaves the camp now, other refugees will think you're going back to Rwanda. You were spying, you're gonna go tell the things in Rwanda, and then the soldiers will know where to come and kill. So it's difficult now to leave where everyone can see. So I will come later, but we need to leave in the evening, in the night or something. So I paid them the tickets for using the boat, and they came a week later. I received them and we lived together there. But my brother, I haven't seen him, and my dad I never seen.
And your older sister?
My older sister, she refused to come. I gave her some dollars and she opened the restaurant rather than using to transport her family and leave the south. So when I got evacuated now from, I left Goma with this plane using only Congolese ID, because eventually I managed to go inside the plane. I boarded, but this airport manager had to hold my hand through the steps until we went into the plane.
Oh, the airport manager was on your side.
Yeah, because he was a Congolese who knew me, worked there together.
So he worked,
and they are very good people everywhere.
Wow.
I've seen, they are bad Hutus, they are bad Tutsis, they are good Hutus, they are good Tutsis. Bad northern people, good ones over there. Bad in the south, good in the south. So everywhere, every tribe, every race, they are good people and bad people. Yeah. So he allowed me to, he helped me to go inside the plane, and that was after the soldiers had finished searching, and then we went in. So they didn't know what's going on. So he showed me my seat and my ticket. I sat down. Then they closed the plane. Soldiers could not come in anymore.
Sure.
That's how it is. So I said bye-bye to my country because the plane leaves Goma and turns a little bit over Rwanda, where I worked. I could see the city before it goes into higher altitude. I say bye-bye. Seriously. My land, you have drunk a lot of blood. I want to give you mine. Yeah. So it's emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I had healed, but it's still a story. Yeah. We went to the south of Congo in a city called Lubumbashi. I went to church. It was a Friday. When I arrived at the church, they told me they are doing prayers. It was around 5:40 something, close to 6. Opening Sabbath, as Adventists do. I stayed there with my bag. There is security at the door who opened for me. That's where the cab took me. I didn't know anywhere else to go. And when the pastor finished,
Your cousin was there already.
my cousin had arrived a week before
Yeah.
because we were fleeing separately so that we don't really show we are fleeing.
But yeah.
He managed to use another plane that was evacuating families, Congolese, Rwandan Congolese who were closed into the border when they were sharing the parting the borders
Okay. Yeah.
in a conference of Berlin. So there were Rwandans who were already working in Congo, but they had families in Rwanda. So now when we were fleeing in a camp, those who were in Congo, they had to ask their relatives who were in the camps and chartered a plane to go and fetch them. So my cousin now managed to sneak into that plane,
Oh, that's how.
bribing the people, and went there with those staff. There's even one other man who took his people. He's a man, a scientist, a mathematician. He's in the US. He's a very famous man. He sent a plane empty to come and collect all his relatives from the camp. Those were taken earlier before. During those time, people were dying.
Yeah.
That's why he did it. Yeah, he's a Rwandan.
Sure.
They went to US without a visa, just because he's a strong man.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a very renowned mathematician in US. I think he must be retired now. Yeah, so now with this, I arrive at the church, Friday evening. They tell me the pastor is conducting the Vespers, so we wait a little bit. You're gonna come. When he comes, we ask that he accommodate you or whatever he's gonna say. Now, when the pastor came, he said, "Who is this?" They tell him, "Oh, it's someone who's coming from Goma. He's coming to this place for the first time. He doesn't know, but he has a cousin who came earlier. Now it's dark. He doesn't know how to find him, but his cousin is lodged in one of the places of the staff of the union, but he doesn't know where. It's the first time he's arriving. I didn't even know the name. The person
The
I knew
union
was my
is
cousin.
like Adventist.
Yeah, Adventist.
Union.
Yeah,
Union.
the union
Conference.
accountant actually. He was a pastor, but he was a union accountant, who was lodging this guy. So the pastor says, "Who opened for you?" The security says, "I opened because he told me he's Adventist."
Yeah.
Then he says, "No, he must go."
Oh my God.
Then I remember Congolese how they steal. I have been robbed 14 times at gunpoint in Goma.
Oh my
Now
God.
I'm in the south where there's no war, no refugees, nothing.
Yeah.
And this man wants to send me out again into the soldiers, Congolese soldiers. I had a very bad memory with them. They rob and take your cloth off and give you the dirty clothes they get on the street, so that you can go without being naked, and take your clothes, shoes, watch, and go sell
They
there.
just do that to
That-
everyone. Or
That's
they
the life
targeted-
we lived with the Congolese.
Yep.
They targeted the Rwandans who were refugees.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Oh my
that's how
God.
they lived during the Mobutu time. I'm not sure this time they have changed, but that's how it was. So I was wondering how this pastor can ask me to go out now without knowing where to go.
At night.
Then I said, "Can you keep my suitcase now,
This pastor.
and I will find a way. Just tell me wherever you know any lodge. I still have my money. I'm not asking you to pay for me. I pay for myself, but just give me directions. I don't know where to turn. No way to know which
Yeah,
hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
And
it's
if I go with
strange,
this
yeah.
suitcase, they will rob me again." He said, "No. Just go out."
Oh my word.
I lost my control. When I'm angry, I speak French.
Okay.
And this French will be the strongest French ever
And it's
that you can
terrible.
have.
Yeah.
Because my brain will bring the hardest vocabularies that will really explain what I want, how I feel. So I vomited these strong words to him. The church doesn't belong to you, it's God's church.
Honestly.
You are only entrusted to care about the people. Even if you don't know me, this is not the way Jesus treats strangers.
Honestly.
You shouldn't do this. I'm wondering, I'm seeing you. I was told you were having a prayers in church. I don't
What kind
believe
of
you pray
place
to
was
God.
that?
You pray to the devil. So I was screaming and loud.
Yeah.
Then across the street, someone heard. And probably people came to see
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And my cousin is the one who came closer.
Oh wow.
He came to the street and looked and come through the door because it was open, the gate was open.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, Nelson, you're here already." And he said, "Pastor, this is the man I told you that he will come through here looking for me." The pastor got shocked.
But you had already said it. It's the exact same story that you
Yes,
was told.
but he wanted me to go. I started looking at myself. Am I smelling? Am I dressed perhaps like a thief? Why isn't he can't believe me? Yeah. So
But even if you were not, you know what I mean? Like even if he didn't know any story.
Look, just to let you know,
He had been told.
in our journey, we have met all kinds of people, bad and good. All kinds of
And
people.
unexpected.
Yeah.
Good
You
people.
could
and
see
unexpected.
a
bad
good
people.
priest and a very bad one.
Yep.
You could see a good
Good
Muslim
people and
and
bad
a
people
bad one.
in the church and out of the
Everywhere.
church.
That's how this is thing life experience has been. So now Edward takes my bag. He said, "Don't keep shouting. It's okay. Let's go." So I didn't say bye bye to this pastor. I just looked into his eyes for the last time. I left. It was time for dinner. You can imagine around the 6:20, 6:30. Now I'm greeting these people, this family who never knew me, and I'm fuming with anger
Yeah, you're still
for this man who really dared chasing me from the church I was born in
honestly now.
and worked for, and I've been a church member for the whole life. How can he say go out? And I know how the church operates. He doesn't have a single
Yes.
support from his own pocket to the church.
Honestly.
How can he say that? He doesn't live in his own house. He's not.
Yeah.
He's paid
Yeah.
to do whatever he does. If he has a problem, he could organize a committee and ask, "What can we do?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was really
You
confused.
can make such
Now
decisions.
they say, "Okay, praise God, you have just arrived." And by the way, I was still looking like Congolese with my disguise and things.
Maybe
because
that's
it was
why
the same
pastor.
day.
Oh yeah.
But the Congolese
But
are
you're
there.
telling them, yeah, and you're
Yeah.
telling him. who
Yeah.
you are.
There was nothing wrong with that because Congolese,
how they
that's
dress.
how they dress. It was even going to be easy for him to
Yeah,
recognize.
to welcome you. That,
Yeah. if he thought I'm lying, he could have asked some other questions, or at least accept to
Or ask Edward.
to,
yeah,
to
or say
to
could
direct
sit
me,
in the-
yeah.
Edward
Yeah.
or to direct me to a nearby whatever hotel, or give me the address.
Yeah.
Then I go and be safe. Saturday I come back during the day. Yeah. Anyway, I told this union treasurer, thank you so much for being so nice to me, but I'm leaving this church. I'm pissed off. I didn't know we have pastors like this in our
the
church. I have never known this.
Because after that experience, I'm thinking
Yeah.
you're still in this church.
Yeah.
I know,
Now
right?
the pastor said, look, the church is made up of sinners.
The pastor said that.
Yeah.
The other pastor.
The other
Where
pastor.
he
Oh,
the
Where he
accounting
was
pastor.
working.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was a pastor.
And he was
as well.
older
Because of the
than
union.
he was
Yes.
older than the other one. Even higher
Wiser.
in the wiser.
Yeah.
And he said, we are all sinners. We don't know what went into his mind, but Satan is alive in this world. He can really trick things. So we don't know what was in his mind. No one knows how he saw you. Just leave it, forgive him. You don't even need to go and apologize or do whatever. It's fine. I say, I will think about it. I wasn't really convinced that I will never leave this church. So I went, we ate and had a shower, slept. Saturday I put on my suit, go to church. I went to the French church because there's a Congolese, what they call the mother church, where they speak Congolese languages there, and the French church where expatriates, international staff, whatever, worship, and the students, because there's a university there as well, Adventist University. So I went there, and the time of asking for visitors in an Adventist tradition, that side you raise your hand, or sometimes they say stand up. They ask you to stand, and I stood. And the time they greet people, that's when the divine service normally is starting.
Yeah.
And the pastor saw me. He recognized me.
The same one
So
that chased
he
you.
was
The one that's
uncomfortable. He was
Can you
uncomfortable. He was the one preaching, but he never managed to find any verse. Every time he's turning to Genesis, he's looking to Revelations. He's checking everywhere. He missed up, and he asking other people to read. And people were asking, "What happened with our pastor?" They didn't know. Then I just keep looking at him. I said, "I don't know. Maybe he wants me to go out. He can be comfortable." And Edward said, "No, leave him. He's dealing with his devils."
He should have just apologized publicly.
Yeah.
Basically,
So-
so he can be behind him.
We finish church, we go out, and after lunch, I went to visit the union president because his son had married a woman doctor from my home village. We knew each other. So I wanted to go greet them and tell them the news because everyone was asking, how is he home? How is he so-so? How is so-so? So when I went to that place, I'm seated there, they're asking me, oh, praise God, you survived, all the things. Here is the pastor who's coming there too.
Again.
In the afternoon, again. So when he opened the door, they say, oh, welcome, pastor. He looks at the people, he saw me, and he went back.
Really?
He didn't come in. Yeah. Then he said, no, come in. He said, oh, no, I'll come back next time. Everyone was, what's going on?
Yeah, puzzled.
Yeah. I didn't tell them. Yeah, but
You were
I
nice.
stayed there for a couple of days, a week
conscience.
in that city, then organized a way to cross the border clandestinely because they don't allow you to use a visa anyway. No refugees in Africa can be allowed to go
Did
to
you
any
cross-
other country with
When
a
you
visa.
left, did you leave as Congolese or you left as Rwandan?
No, I left as Rwanda. Being
Okay.
Congolese was just through the flight.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the way of finding a way to flee that area.
Okay.
So I went to Zambia, lived there a week, and some people were kidnapped again from Zambia, Rwandans. And when it was in the news, I had already paid, I think, a month in this lodge where I was living, expecting to find a way with Edward. Find knowing the city and perhaps get a house to accommodation where we can start living and cooking and doing things. But after these 5 days, we hear the news, people have been kidnapped and taken to Rwanda. Ay, that was terrible. By road. I say we're not safe again. So we decided to flee now to Malawi because people were saying Malawi is the safest place and it's peaceful and they have a camp. You don't have to struggle with accommodation. So I took my things. I went to the hotel manager. Can I get at least some money? They say no. I had to pay the 2 weeks. Yeah, because they were saying it's 2 weeks. If you don't have a house and accommodation somewhere, you're gonna pay another 2 weeks again. So we lived only 5 days, but they refused. Then when they refused, I say okay. I look for someone who was people were squashed. I say go live in my room now. For this other days left. Yeah. So I left with Edward. We gave our bags to the church. There's a church hospital in Zambia. And we gave these people to keep our big bags so that we can cross the border on a market day like citizens. That's the way we crossed. But we got arrested anyway. In Malawi, they found us after crossing the border. They said the immigration officers came on a bike and stopped the minibus before it left. They say, greeting everyone. Then I couldn't respond in their taken out. And then explain, guys, where are you going? Are you not from here? They say, no, from Rwanda, we are fleeing the war, we trouble in Congo, trouble in Zambia. Now we are looking for a safer place where we can go to the camp. He says, Malawi has a camp, and we know the story of what happened. We are really very sorry for what happened to you guys, and quickly go back into the minibus.
Oh, nice.
And he stopped. The minibus was leaving, and we had paid the whole journey up to the capital city, but we're losing our money now. So he stopped it. They stopped, and we approached. He went there to the driver. He says, guys, these two people, gentlemen, are refugees from Rwanda. Treated them well. I've never seen such a thing like that in all countries I traveled.
Wow.
After having the experience with Congolese soldiers and the Zambian police kidnapping people, now Malawians are angels police.
Wow.
So we managed to travel up to the capital city, and that side they had all the cold. We found a police at the bus station. They look at us, they say, are you the tour guide? Yeah, okay. This is the bus going to the camp. Have a safe journey. They pay this the amount of money, they should not ask you more.
Wow.
These people were so
good.
Amazing.
Did you ever get your bags?
The bags came probably 6 months later, something like that. When they had a trip to Malawi, they brought them.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. It was really good. Yeah. I lived there in a camp for a year until Yvette came and then
Okay, so let's fast forward that bit because we've already done that bit. How do you then end up in Perth? I know that story will start in South Africa. And how do you leave? How do you end up leaving and why do you leave Malawi?
I can summarize.
Maybe that should tell the story. Even though you have two different.
If you should forget any key thing, I will.
Just edit. Because I think I want to hear both how your journeys, both of you, but summarized versions of your journeys of how you went to South Africa.
I will suggest how she crossed to Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I want to hear
how
that.
She crossed to South Africa. Those two things are important.
We need to hear those bits. Actually, we do need to hear those bits.
Okay, so